What the f is good? It's time for another video dedicated to Busas, baby. Y'all already know what it is. We them Busa boys at it again, slaying the streets with the destruction of a 1300 cc's of Suzuki death. Okay, I cannot keep that kind of energy up all the time. It's bad for my blood pressure. But when it comes to Busas, I just get so excited. Do I maybe get a little carried away sometimes? Yes. Do I care? No. Why? Because Busas. Busas are the one special thing out there that just quivers me timbers like no other. Don't tell my Baytona I said that. I don't think she's the jealous type, but you can never be too careful. Anyway, Busas are like that 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon celebrity connection some people have. You know, like when your cousin marries the sister of a super hot, super cool actress or something, that kind of thing. Well, that super hot, super cool actress is a Busa in this analogy. Just being able to claim a connection to one at all instantly makes you cooler, even if you are separated by a sister, a cousin, a marriage, or you've never actually met the Busa in person. See what I'm driving at here? All jokes aside, my admiration for Busas and Turbo Busas is largely ironic. I don't think I actually love Busas this much, or do I? Maybe you should subscribe so you can find out how this story arc ultimately settles. I've been pretty public that at 1 million subscribers, I'll be purchasing a Turbo Busa and doing something weird with it, but we'll see. Like all great and mythical creatures, the Hayabusa has an origin story. Not a history, not a birth, not a genesis or a conception creation. No, the Hayabusa has an origin story. So where did all these super fast, ultra cool Turbo Busas come from? Simple, they were born of competition. That's right, competition. Nothing gets the creative juices flowing in a money-driven economy like a little friendly competition. In the 80s and 90s, speed was the name of the game. If Kawasaki released a bike that could hit 85 miles per hour, then Honda would release a new model that could hit 95 miles per hour. If you've watched any of our history series, then you know this is the time when manufacturers really started focusing on the technology behind the mechanics of motorcycles, and a lot of innovations were starting to take place. Not only was there a race to be the fastest bike, but manufacturers wanted to be the affordable bike as well. Even though they might not always be the best or most solid option, the Japanese Big Four are still running the show for a reason. Let's hang out in the 90s for a minute. The focus of the latter half of that decade was 100% on who would create the fastest bike. It started out as who would create the fastest bike of the year, then it quickly escalated into a competition of who could create the fastest bike of the decade, then the century. You see where I'm going here. The Honda Fireblade was the fastest and most sought after bike, and it reigned supreme for a while. Our history of Honda video goes more into depth on the blade in all her speedy glory, so be sure to check it out. The Fireblade was a literal catalyst for what is now known as the Speed Wars, which actually sounds pretty cool. It sounds like the beginning of some anime timeline. It was written in stone that the Fireblade was the catalyst of the Speed Wars, and now a new contender rose from the ashes of the blade. I'm telling you guys, there's a reason why so many weeaboos like my content, and there's a serious overlap between motorcycle love and anime love. The Honda Fireblade started a huge movement in the industry towards creating race replicas, and nothing says race replica like the speedometer. The Fireblade was the bike to beat, and eventually Honda beat their own bike with the release of the Honda Blackbird. I promise this is not another Honda history video. We're here to talk about Busas. It just kind of sounds that way at the moment, but it's not. Even though most folks think the Honda Blackbird is the OG fast boy bike, because it kind of is. There were a ton of motorcycle manufacturers trying to get in on the speed race that was taking place, but Kawasaki and Suzuki were the two primary contenders. Kawasaki missed the tailgating party because they were up late studying and eventually showed up to the race with the Kawasaki ZX-12R. The entire line of Z machines is nothing shy of incredible. They are performance machines, and there's simply no arguing that. But in 1999, Suzuki took a look at the competition, grabbed the nearest neighbor, said, "Hol my la croix," and bam! Busa Nation was born. The Suzuki Hayabusa was immediately the champ. All other motorcycles were forced to bow before her glory, kiss the ring, and accept the fact that the race was over. The Busa immediately laid claim to the title of the world's fastest production motorcycle, clocking in with a top speed of 303 to 312 kilometers per hour. For my non-metric folks and all the American peeps out there, that is a whopping 188 to 194 miles per hour. You're going to want a face mask for that fast boy. Now, here's where things start to get a little sticky for some folks. After the motorcycle gods breathed life into the Busa, the mere mortals and the regulatory government started to take notice. They didn't like this newfangled technology, those dang kids and their rock music. And you have to remember, this was the age of the Japanese machinery becoming overpowered in all aspects. For any car fans in the audience, you'll know of Japan's arbitrary horsepower limit to their cars in the 90s, which is why all those Fast and Furious cars were way over-engineered but made like 280 horsepower. Japan and Europe entered an agreement to cap the top speed of their motorcycles at what was at the time a seemingly arbitrary limit, 186 miles per hour. That agreement marked the moment that the Hayabusa would reign eternally as the fastest production motorcycle in the world. Is it a technicality? Do us Busa boys care? No way, baby. Turbo Busa's forever 25/8, 24/7 Busa time. Boy, faster motorcycles certainly exist. Anyone who has watched our Lord and Savior Rossi rip a corner knows that beyond a doubt there are much faster bikes out there. The catch is that those aren't considered production motorcycles. They aren't meant for the street. They didn't come from the factory like that. And that means the Busa reigns supreme. Now here's the other kicker when it comes to those max speed claims. You are not guaranteed to actually ever hit that speed on the bike. Being able to do those magical top speed is something you must earn, young Yammie. It is not something one merely does. You must work up to it. The wind must be exactly right. The road must be traveling in the same direction for miles and miles. And above all, there must be no pedestrians, random animals, or lurking law enforcement anywhere around. Only then can you experience the full twist of the throttle and reach towards achieving your full speed fantasies. As with most things, money becomes a driving factor in the speed wars. Eventually the economy took a turn and people weren't focused on such frivolities. Frivolities. How dare they lump motorcycles, Busas especially, into a category like that? Disgraceful. That's about the time that motorcycle manufacturers started focusing on being more cost efficient. Tiny cars became a thing. People were all about maxing their return on investment for their vehicles, and non-motorcycle people just couldn't imagine how owning a motorcycle could possibly return a positive yield. But most of our favorite bike makers did manage to survive that recession, so maybe they knew something that the all-powerful Yam doesn't. I don't know, we may never know. I do know that motorcycle sales are going up right now, and that women are actually the fastest growing margin purchasers out there right now. Seriously, isn't that strange? Which tells me we are getting pretty close to starting a new channel. Busa boys are going to need to step aside because the Busa babes are going to be front and center in the next couple of years. Who are we kidding? This is still a complete sausage fest. It's been interesting seeing the leader bike market in the last few years as it's starting to kind of resemble the open bike class from the 90s. Cheater leader bikes like Aprilia's 1100cc RSV4 are creating a hyper niche segment of the market that caters to people who just want to go extremely fast and don't care about race homologation rules. We might start to see a category of leader bike that has 1200, 1300 cc's maybe, but with all the new race bike technology we've come to expect. It's strange to think about, but even though the Hayabusa is the fast boy motorcycle, most new leader bikes completely wipe the floor with it. These days, most people don't want to compromise, and they want to have a bike that puts out over 200 horsepower and still flicks in faster than they can think. So what's next for the motorcycle community? Speed wars are dead and gone, but maybe another race is looming just around the corner. Horsepower wars? Hipster wars? Wait, we already had the cafe racer face. There can't be a hipster war. We seem to be in the midst of a scrambler war right now, which I'm all about. I think it's great we're building bikes that are fun to ride and accessible. Just kidding. I want a turbocharged 1300cc, 540-pound motorcycle that's gonna rip my dang arm off when I give it 5% throttle. Yay! Let me know in the comments what you think motorcycle manufacturers are gonna start duking it out over next. Personally, I'm fond of the idea of a horn race. Who can come up with the jauntiest jingle, the best decibel to engine ratio, that kind of thing. And of course, we have to mention the elephant in the room, don't we? What about Kawasaki's H2? Yammie Noob, a factory supercharged motorcycle in an H2R variant that makes over 320 horsepower. Surely, this is the Busa slaying motorcycle we've all been waiting for all these years, and it is. It truly trounces the Busa, even in stupid turbo spec. But honestly, maybe this is a cop-out, but the H2 just isn't as memeable as the Busa, so honestly, I just don't really care about the H2. I hope all you Busa boys and girls out there having fun on your world-famous fastest production motorcycles in existence, you immortal bastards. Personally, I'm not allowed to even sit on a Busa until we hit 1 million subscribers, so please help a Yammie out. For the love of Rossi, smash that subscribe button, share the channel with a friend, share the channel with a friend's friend, sign up people you don't even know, offer extra credit to a class somewhere. It doesn't matter if you aren't the teacher. Yammie Noob needs his bottom on a Busa, a sweet, sweet Busa. While you're busy raking in all the subscribers you can find, don't forget to go ahead and ring the notifications bell right down there. Being subscribed is cool and all, but it won't do you much good if you miss out on all the videos we post. Maybe we can make our next giveaway a Turbo Busa. No, that doesn't seem like a good idea. I'm pretty positive there will be legal ramifications for that, and Yammie Noob does not accept legal responsibility for any of his ill-begotten baby yams, no matter how cute you may be. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Fact: the United States Navy has started using Xbox controllers to operate the periscopes on submarines. Training time was reduced from hours to mere minutes, and Xbox controllers cost almost $40,000 less. Millennials, what are you gonna do? Goodbye.